Welcome to the official podcast of Cardinals Nation 24/7. Each week, we put a unique perspective on bringing you the latest news, updates, and rumors of the St. Louis Cardinals baseball organization. Join the nation and stay informed by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, subscribing to us on the podcast form of your choice, and most of all, by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you all for supporting the nation. Let's get things started. Here are your hosts, Jared Redwine, Chris Lawless, and Larry Cox. Hello, Cardinals Nation, and welcome to another episode of the Cardinals Nation 24/7 video podcast. I'm Jared Redwine, and I'm joined, as always, by my friends and my co-hosts, the living legend Larry Cox, and the founder of Cardinals Nation 24/7, also known as the Bearded Dragon, Mr. Chris Lawless. Larry, good evening. How are you, my friend?
All right, buddy. How you doing? Feeling better?
I am. Thank you for asking. Chris, how are you, sir?
Doing well. I know we kind of went on a week hiatus, where we had some stuff come up, but we didn't leave our audience without a good show that we had prior to, which was our conversation with the nation. We had some amazing guests on, so hopefully anybody tuning into this, if they haven't checked that out, can go back and watch the show.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was a lot of fun, and we put that out on Monday, and then due to some scheduling stuff, we didn't have a show on Tuesday, and then we're recording this a day late today because of me. But we'll get right into it, guys. We didn't have a very good series against the Cubs, any Chicago team. We didn't play too well against the White Sox. We won the final game today to avoid the sweep, which was kind of nice, thanks to Tommy Edman carrying the load there at first, and then we were able to tack on a couple of runs after. But your initial thoughts, Chris, on the Cubs series? It was a couple of close games. Wainwright pitched another really good gem, and unfortunately didn't get credit yet again. But your thoughts on that quick series? I know it's going to be back in our minds, but we'll just touch on it real quick and move on.
Yeah, you nailed it with the Wainwright outing. That was the one that kind of stung the worst. Is you've got him going out there just pitching a gem and not being able to walk away with a victory. And going into that series, I don't think any of us thought that the Cubs would be the team looking at us in second place. But that was a series I was hoping we'd sweep or at least get 2 out of 3. And I was disappointed. Pitching was a lot of the issue, I think, with a little bit of that, but no offense to help support a good outing in Wainwright. So it's kind of a mixed bag. When we're struggling offensively, it's like we're pitching lights out, and vice versa.
Larry, we got beat pretty good by the Cubs in the first game. It was a 12-3, but the other two games, it was a 2-1 win for us, and then a 1-2 loss. Overall, it was kind of what we had been missing. They hadn't played, I think, in like 600 days. Cubs came back to St. Louis. They hadn't been in St. Louis, for 600 days, but it's kind of what we expected those last two games. It was down to the end, and extra innings on the last one, and fans were into it. Cubs fans, Cardinal fans, both in attendance. It was baseball was kind of back, would you say?
Yeah, it's nice to see the rivalry back again, and everything looking up. But it just seems like we still can't make that key hit to get the guy from second to score. Our bullpen's struggling. The walks come back to haunt us every game, it seems like lately. But
we lost you for a minute. I heard "but," and then you were cutting out quite a bit, I think. Was it just me or was it him?
No, he was cutting out quite a bit.
Okay. And then, guys, we left St. Louis playing one Chicago team, and we traveled to the south side to play the White Sox. And Tony La Russa, your initial thoughts, Chris, on seeing Tony in a White Sox uniform? Was it a little strange to you to see him in the opposing dugout wearing a different uniform?
A little bit. It's been a lot of years since we've seen him in a Cardinal uniform, but, it was a little weird going up against him. I hated facing Lance Lynn because that's a pitcher that I really wish the Cardinals would have held on to, but La Russa, has a pretty good team over there in Chicago, and Lynn kind of give us some fits, and if you've heard his post-game interview, he liked to stick it to the Cardinals and sounded whether he was having fun or not, sounded a little bit bitter towards the organization. Like, hey, this was a middle finger to you on, look what I've still got.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite victory yet, which if you guys remember several years ago, whenever he had become a free agent, he wanted to re-sign with the Cardinals. He was even like at Cardinals spring training in Jupiter. Like there's a picture of him like watching the team through the fence. He wanted to re-sign and couldn't find a home. And he's just been very impressive ever since, I guess I should say. He's been probably one of the top pitchers in all of baseball. But Larry, we come out and we're playing against the White Sox, and everyone hyped Flaherty playing Giolito, his good buddy from back in high school. And the first two games we didn't look too good against Chicago, and then today's game we ended up coming away with a win, which was pretty close until the end, until we put some room out there. But kind of sucks to lose the series, but at least we're going back on the road and leaving town with a victory today.
Well, the old adage is that you can't be the best unless you beat the best. We can see our shortcomings. I mean, they're magnified now over the last three series. Chicago definitely has the firepower, and they actually have pitching. And I was even taken back by their bullpen. I guess I hadn't really paid that much attention to their bullpen. Those guys coming out all firing 95, 96 miles an hour was pretty good. The Edmund providing all the offense today, basically at the beginning of the game, that was nice. But Tony had never managed against the Cardinals in his career, so I guess I hadn't realized that. His two stints at the White Sox and his stint in Oakland, he had never faced the Cardinals.
Yeah, I guess it would have had to have been a postseason matchup because they didn't have interleague play back then. But the big topic coming out of today's game was not the fact that we won and Bader hit 2 home runs, even though he looked impressive. It was that Giovanni Gallegos had a foreign substance on his cap, and I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but it was heated for a minute, and they took his hat away. I'm gonna play a little bit of a clip, and I'm gonna share it with you guys here. I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna cut out the audio, but just so people that are watching the video here, they can kind of see what happened today. So he comes into the game. Obviously you guys can see that in other players with their hats, but you see stuff with people's hats and foreign substance on the hands and stuff all the time. Hats that are way worse than that. I mean, Kimbrel had a huge thing on his hat. It looked like he had something on his hand in the Cub series, and you see it pretty much on every team. But he wasn't even allowed to throw a pitch, so it kind of felt like he might have been targeted a little bit. And before I get your guys' opinion on the deal, I want to show one other thing, but I don't want to show that. I wanted to go over this. This is credit from John Boy Media. So if anybody, doesn't know him, checking out his JOM Boy Media, but he kind of put a snippet together. But I do want to share that. And I'm going to share that with the audio because it's a breakdown of Schilt's reactions from the game. And then I'm going to go to you guys and see what you guys think, basically.
Make sure I get my words right. Because I got a decent chance of getting fined, and my wife Michelle, gosh darn it, Gio wears the same hat all year. Hats accrue dirt. A new hat didn't really seem to affect Gio's stuff too much. There are people essentially flipping the bird at the league with how they're cheating. But let's go check the guys that are sitting there going to their glove every day with filthy stuff coming out. Not some guy before he's even stepped on the mound with a spot on his hat. I think I said some inappropriate language that did that. I was gonna give my hat to Gio, but I didn't get that far.
You were done before that.
Yeah, and then I got sidetracked. But I was gonna switch hats with it, but I didn't get that far. It's like a setup, to be honest with you. And again, he just came out of nowhere. To a guy that does go to his fingers that's been filthy and was filthy after it. Check his spin rates on this stuff. 6 pitch 8. Maybe not enough data. Gio's Gio, man. Gio's like, I just like that hat. I'm not faulting Joe at all. Make sure I get my words right. Because I got a decent chance of getting fined. My wife.
Well, that was pretty much it. But you kind of get the gist from the breakdown. But the funny part about it was, if you guys watched, is the umpire gave the hat to a Chicago White Sox ball boy who deals with bats and pine tar and stuff all day, picking them up. And then he runs it and takes it down through the White Sox dugout to wherever he was taking it to, probably to the umpires' locker room, so they could, analyze it later. But Chris, just real quick, based off of the video that you saw, I know it's tough during a day game because we all have things going on, work and family stuff. And then the comments from Shield, is kind of interesting to see Shield at the end saying that it kind of felt like it was premeditated, targeted, and he references other players cheating in the league basically, and he kind of felt it was unfair to Gio.
Yeah, there's been articles written. There's been, all kinds of, stuff about a lot of players that have been either witnessed doing these things or, linked on rumors of doing this. But it's gone on for a long time where pitchers are using a foreign substance, whether that's rosin, pine tar, whatever they're using. There's something that they're doing. And like you pointed out against the Cubs, Craig Kimbrell, he had a mess on his arm. He had stuff on his hat. This stuff is going on all across the league. And I think that MLB has turned a blind eye to it for whatever reason. And the fact that Joe West kind of pointed that out, I know some people in the group, as soon as it happened, said, this smells like Tony La Russa. Like that was a La Russa call of, hey, check that out, and it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying that, La Russa is that petty, but he could be. And, the fact that he had that hat on prior to the game, and hell, he was lights out after he swapped hats. It wasn't like it affected him any. But at the end of the day, I mean, I do think it's something the MLB needs to address. It was unfortunate that it was a Cardinal-related incident that come to the forefront today, but I don't know. I like Schilt's comments where he's kind of not just taking the low road. He's saying that, hey, this is kind of a bullshit deal.
Yeah, and Larry, I know that we've talked about this for a while. Almost every pitcher uses some kind of foreign substance, but Tony La Russa probably, obviously, it said something to Joe West you'd have to figure, but he didn't even have that big of a mark on the bill of his hat. So to make such a big deal and to take his hat away, not even really check it, was kind of an odd move, and you could understand why Schill would be a little ticked off.
Yeah, during the whole episode going on, Edmonds was talking during the broadcast that he said that they can't just go out and take his hat. It had to be somebody had to question it from the White Sox, and the fact that they didn't let Gio even throw a pitch before they went after his hat, that means it was premeditated, basically. So this is Tony La Russa, 100%. He's always been that petty. I mean, we looked a blind eye because we liked winning under Tony, but he was just guilty of a lot of stuff as anybody else was. Chris and I, it's kind of funny that Chris and I just talked about this weekend when I talked to Chris on the phone. I had said I'd read an article where a guy said that he was an insider for Major League Baseball for years, and each team has developed their own chemicals to get the spin rate up. And you look at players over the years that their spin rate has increased. And scientifically, they're saying as you get older, there's no way you could get an increase in spin rate. There's just no way it could physically happen. But yet you look at several of the Yankees, several other players have come in that it has fallen off the table. And one of those guys they talked about for a long time was Garrett Cole. When he was the Pirates, he didn't have a spin rate like that. Then he goes to Houston, he gets a spin rate, and he goes to the Yankees. Now he's unhittable. So you could see the evidence mounting. And like you said, it's baseball turning a blind eye to this because they think that's what people want to see. The truth is fans want to see home runs. They don't care about pitching games. Nobody likes a 1-0 game. Nobody. They would rather see a 16-15 game with all home runs. So why don't we just juice the ball and let them play? If we're worried about what the fan reactions are, making everybody happy.
Yeah, I think the main focus of Major League Baseball lately has been to deaden the ball more, not the otherwise. But Tommy Edman looked good today, you guys. He hit 2 home runs, and it was quickly Tommy Edman 2, White Sox nothing. But he brought his bat with him today, and he looked pretty good swinging the old bat there.
Yeah, I was, kind of surprised that he was the only one, showing up to hit. Carlson didn't look good at the plate. Goldschmidt, a couple, I don't know what's going on with these guys. It's kind of a hit or miss with it. Having the DH, I thought it'd be guns blazing, be more offense, and our offense didn't show up to play. And it does seem like, to go back to what I said earlier, it seems like when the pitching's on, the hitting isn't, and vice versa. I mean, today was kind of one of those days where we had a little bit of both, which worked out in our favor. But previous games, it's kind of been ugly on one side of the ball. Cardinals need to fix that pretty quick. I mean, errors did cost the Cardinals a little bit with the.
We're not like cheapos. I mean, they were line drive powered. I mean, they were get out of the park quick. Guy that came up and he hit those first pitches. I mean, that's what he was waiting on. We knew that the White Sox were going to bring that first pitch, and after he said it, I started watching it, and he's right. They were attacking the zone, just like they were with Thomas. He said they're throwing him nothing but fastballs, and the guy wasn't even ready to swing. What are we doing? I mean, I'm starting to believe that the group and the Alberts, maybe it is time for Jeff to find a new home.
Yeah, and it wasn't very well played game defensively, or series, I should say. Cardinals had more errors in this series so far than they had in the previous, like 3 or 4 combined. Justin Williams finally did something decent and threw Adam Eaton out at home plate, though, which was nice to see. It was a good defensive play on his end. But we kind of flipped the script on him today, Chris. We kind of ran the Tony La Russa Sunday lineup out there for a little bit. Other than our key guys, we had Kinsler in the game. We had more off at third, but Arenado was DHing, obviously. But it was a little bit with Williams and then Lane Thomas also. We kind of had a hodgepodge of a team, but they ended up pulling off a good victory.
Yeah, I know there's going to be some games where you got to do that, and having the DH, maybe resting an Arenado defensively. Yeah, I don't know how much longer that the Cardinals stick with Moroff. I know he kind of showed some promise in spring training and then fell off and then was doing decent in Memphis, but or at the alternate site. But I don't know how long they stick with him with the team. It's just kind of this kind of lineup you didn't really expect much from. They did get the win. Kisner did look good behind the plate, called another good game. So I don't think there's anything to worry about as far as Yachty's backup, but some of the Cardinals players, their bench is weak. That's a weak spot that the Cardinals might need to address, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and the short times that we've seen Carpellary here recently, especially the other game, he actually looked pretty decent. Got a couple of hits, got on base, I think 3 times, and then we didn't really see him again. Are you surprised we haven't seen more, especially with playing in the American League Park? We haven't seen more Carp out there? He fell asleep at his desk.
Maybe. No, it's my internet. It's screwed tonight. I think with Carp, I think it's going to be a lot more in the American League stuff. We're going to see it. But my biggest question is what happened to Rondon? I mean, where I thought, he had a better spring than Moroff. I didn't understand that one at all. But again, we still haven't seen Chris's hero in the outfield either. So Nagowski. But I think Carp's going to get more playing time in the American League. Maybe they're looking for find him a new home in the American League somewhere. I don't know. But he did look good. He got on base 3 times in the game yesterday. So overall, I kind of didn't like his defense a couple of times there, but other than that, he had an overall decent game. So,
yeah, I actually thought, Chris, we might see Nagowski make a start in one of these games. They recalled him from Memphis from his, his rehabilitation assignment, whatever you want to call it, especially when Goldschmidt took the DH. But I think they started Carp there instead. But would have been nice. You would have thought that one of these games, against the White Sox, we would have seen Nagowski make an appearance after he had such a good spring, which now seems so many moons ago. And in baseball terms, I guess it is. But still no Nagowski for whatever reason. But we still are seeing a lot of Williams, and I think probably the Moroff experiments probably was quick and short-lived, and it will be done.
Yeah,
tonight or tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say hopefully the Moroff thing is, and it's no offense to the kid, but I mean if you're not producing and really don't have a fit with the team going forward, I can't imagine investing in many opportunities. It is unfortunate not giving Nagowski a shot because, again, we wondered why he didn't get that shot early in the season, especially playing in the American League and you got a DH role. I don't know why you don't give him a shot there, but yeah, I mean the Cardinals, they've got some things they need to figure out, and pitching wise. they've been leaning heavy on Genesis Cabrera, and Reyes did, hold it down today. But they've got some floating parts too in the bullpen and even the starting rotation now with Michaelis, re-injured. That we got some question marks. We need to figure it out.
Yeah, Larry, and among those question marks, it appears to be the bullpen is doing a constant shuffle. The bullpen has not been as good as we thought. And coming into the season, we thought we were going to have one of the best ones in all of baseball. And I think the potential is still there, but for whatever reason, it hasn't come together. And control has been a major issue for the entire pitching staff, regardless whether it's rotation or bullpen. But what do you think the pitching side of this team needs to do to come together and be more effective?
More foreign substances on their hands and their hats, like everybody else. I think we go down that road and we get better. No, I think we continue to throw the same type pitches. It seems like to me. I'm a huge Yachty fan. I will be forever. I mean, I know what he means this team, but I watch him during a game, the way he sets up for the pitches. It's almost like he's setting the same spot almost every single pitch, and that's not good for a young pitcher. I did like watching Knizner today, that he moved around. He was inside, he was outside, he was up, and he was down, and I think that made a huge difference. And I even think like with Carlos, when he caught for Carlos while Yachty was out, I thought he did a better job. I'm sorry. I'm no offense to Yachty. I mean, there's a lot of wear and tear on those knees and that back. I get it. His reaction time's not as quick, but he still calls a hell of a game. I mean, he knows what he's doing behind the plate. He calms those guys down. But I think that's a lot of it is that I think we had a better run when Yachty was out. As far as the pitching overall, I don't think we had the walks that we have now. But again, I think that we're not getting those close calls either. I mean, we watched several of those pitches on the outside corners that we weren't getting today or yesterday, but yet the White Sox were getting them. So again, West, we know that deal behind the plate. We know how that works. He's always been horrible behind the plate. Well, horrible anywhere in the field, but he is 100 years old. So there is that. And then of course, he's umpired more games than anybody in Major League history. So maybe his eyesight's not so good. But I just think overall, I think we've got to stay the course. These young pitchers, they need more opportunities to throw instead of just giving up on them and just continue to pitch. Yeah, no, I think you kind of touched on it there a little bit, but Chris, it seems like consistency has been a problem. And, John Gant again today went 5 scoreless. And, and he's not really a strikeout pitcher or anything of that nature, but we've seen walks being issued for him. Even guys like Reyes, they avoid showing that walk number whenever they're showing statistics because Reyes has had a lot of them too, but the K rate is obviously impressive. But it's just been up and down the board with Ponce and everyone else. And now with Mikolas going back down on the injured list, what's your take? Just going to counter to same question that I asked Larry. What do you think the Cardinals need to improve on in order to kind of shape up that bullpen and solidify a rotation?
Well, it's kind of tough because I read, and I don't want to get these wrong, but like in 4 categories as far as walks, and hit batters and pass balls, the Cardinals pitching has the most, out of all of baseball, and that's top to bottom. That starts with the rotation, but that's leaking into the bullpen too. I think some of it is the overexposure of, when you got guys like Webb that, even though the numbers don't say so, it seems like he pitches 8 days a week. They've been going to Cabrera a lot. Reyes, I don't want to burn him out either, but it's like the starters aren't going deep in games, or when they are, like a Wainwright, we're not getting the win, So these shorter games, it's like the Cardinals bullpen, they're taxed. I don't know if they're tired, but they're just, the walks are eating us alive. Offensively, it's the strikeouts killing us. On the pitching side of things, it's, we just are giving up too many free passes. It's hitting batters. I can't believe, every game it seems like we're hitting a batter or two. A lot of wild pitches. It's crazy. The control is a big issue. And I'm not sure if, to Larry's point, the foreign substance thing, if that's been working out for the Cardinals or not, but the control has been, I think, a biggest issue.
Yeah, I'd say if they have been using a foreign substance, it hasn't been because Gallegos looked a lot better when he didn't have it. Also going into that, we've probably doesn't look good for Mikolas. I know we just kind of mentioned it, but it looks like he's probably going to be out for, a lengthy period of time. Same thing with Jordan Hicks. Miller is on a rehab assignment as of yesterday. Andrew Miller, that horrible toe blister issue he had, he's been out for a month over that blister. It must be a bad one. I probably had a splinter, maybe. I don't know. But, even when Miller comes back, he hasn't been the pitcher that we're used to. Webb got another earned run again the other day. You got to figure, Larry, there's got to be a move from somewhere in this bullpen, or do you think it's going to be an internal move from somewhere else on the roster?
Well, I know a lot of the St. Louis fans wanted Scherzer. They're talking about Scherzer. They've been talking about him all spring. But right now that East is so jumbled up right now, Washington's still in it. So they're not going to trade away one of their best pitchers for do that. I think we definitely got to find a change, but I think there's 28 other teams out there looking for pitching too. I mean, how long have we watched the Yankees go out and try to get more and more pitching, and they had to overpay for Cole, of course, to get him. But so it's going to have to be an internal thing. And I'm just wondering if maybe we're just trying to tread water with what we have until until the All-Star break. Sorry. And then maybe start some of those young kids, the Zach Thompsons and the Liberators and those guys. Maybe that's when we start seeing some of those guys brought up. I mean, I don't know. We're just guessing right now, but there's got to be a change. I think Webb's just about out of gas. Like Chris said, he's pitched, seems like every single night, every single game. And I think we've done better on those games where, we have that set rotation, Gio comes in, and then you follow up and you got Reyes. And I think that's the combination we got to get to, but it's getting to those guys. Cabrera again, hit somebody again today. I mean, that guy's hit everybody but the mascot so far.
No, he hit him last week.
Oh, my bad.
Chris, what do you think? You see some rotation moves, at least a bullpen move or two coming up from Jose Locke. That's the typical Cardinals move, or would you like to see them make that move internally with some of these guys, like maybe a Parsons, or maybe put Oviedo in the bullpen on a permanent role? Some of these guys. I think it's about putting the best team that you possibly can together on your big league club to try to win as many games and get as far as you can. So what do you think? Do you think it's going to be an internal move, or they're going to be going outside the organization to kind of fortify the arms?
Well, as much as we've talked, about the Cardinals and their plethora of arms, they've gotten a ton of young talent. I don't see them going outside the organization for it, just because there's been so many interchangeable pieces, like, Cody Whitley coming up hasn't looked good. With him not looking good, Junior Fernandez gets his shot. Oviedo's had his shot spot starting, but hasn't been used in a bullpen role. You got Carlos that'll be coming back off the injured list soon. KK still isn't going deep into games, but he hasn't looked bad. Obviously, Wainwright's doing what he needs to do, and Flaherty's looked sharp. So, starting wise, I don't really see any guys like an Oviedo or something going to be taking over a starting spot. It's that middle relief core that's getting burnt out. And I don't think they're going to call up a Liberator Thompson, because they do want those guys to be seasoned as starters. And I don't want to see them come up and just, be a stopgap unless we're making a run at the end or something, and we really have to have those arms. But there's so many other options. I mean, we've got Woodford that's had his shot. He hasn't looked that great. Elledge has been up. They're just, I think, with as many pitchers as they got, they're just going to see what they have in each one. If there's some struggles, they're going to interchangeable parts. I don't think they're going to go outside and sign somebody or trade for somebody that's maybe going to give you what these young guys are, and maybe they aren't. But some of these guys, I think we expect big things from, like Oviedo. He's got lights out stuff, but he hasn't particularly always been sharp. I would rather see him get more opportunities than go out and make a trade to get somebody that you don't know is going to do any better.
Yeah, and we have been, especially on both sides of the ball, both pitching and on the offensive side, we've been hit with the injuries a lot. O'Neill has been off and on, Bader has been off and on the IL, and even Yachty was on the IL for a little bit. But going back to this, Chris, Nolan Arenado has become the player that we all hoped and dreamt or thought he could be. He's leading the team with 10 home runs, 32 RBIs, batting average of 288, and he's actually got an OPS of 877 that's leading the team. But, I mean, you've got his jersey hanging up behind you there. Your thoughts on Arenado and your first impressions of him with the birds on the bat?
Definitely, he's living up to the hype. I don't want to go ahead and steal Larry's line, but the fact of him not being able to hit outside of Colorado is kind of, we're calling bullshit on that, because he's hitting the ball well. Defensively, he's made several plays that is impressive and definitely better than what we've seen at third base previously. But he hasn't looked particularly sharp in some games. I'm not saying he's error prone or anything like that, but he's living up to the hype.
He's probably not going to win the Gold Glove this year.
Yeah. That's probably a safe bet. But it's nice to see him, embracing the role of, kind of being a leader, somebody that these younger guys are watching come to the clubhouse. He's working hard and he's producing at a high level. That's the kind of ball player that we wanted to see in St. Louis, and to pair him with Goldschmidt, even though Goldschmidt hasn't been exactly what we wanted, that's a pretty good combination. And then you got the young guys with Edman and Carlson that really the 1 through 4. I mean, Arenado has been a big part of that success.
Yeah, and we really need Paul Goldschmidt to turn it up here a little bit, especially with so many key guys in the bottom half of the order being out. Goldie's hitting 255, 6 home runs, 26 RBIs, and he's probably our 4th or maybe even our 5th best offensive player. Larry, Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edman, they're 2 and 3 on the team in offense, but Carlson looks really good. He's still hitting 280. He's got the best on-base percentage of anybody else out of those big 4 that I just mentioned. He's second in OPS, but Dylan Carlson, since he got put in that 2 spot, he, Arenado was the player we thought he was going to be. It looks like Carlson is becoming the prospect / player that everyone thought and hoped he was going to be as well.
Yeah, I mean, once he dropped that 2 spot, I think everything changed for him. He's seen a lot of pitches. He struggled a little bit today and yesterday, but overall, he's made solid contact. He's kind of spraying the field. His defense has really come along. Again, we kind of out of a emergency, he's now in the center field role, which, I'm not real fond of. I keep saying that. But the other guy we haven't really talked about is Sosa and the job he's done at shortstop. He's been incredible. I mean, he really has. We thought, well, he's going to come up, he's going to play some defense, but hey, I tell you what, the young better come back hitting or else.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, Chris, to see Sosa performing like Larry said. He's been in the system, it seems like, forever, and everyone's talked about trying to see him get a chance, and he has gotten his chance, and he has been opposite of Justin Williams. He's made the most of it, but Sosa has been hot, and he looks good. He looks comfortable at the plate.
Yeah, that's one thing, that we talked about on Conversation with the Nation, and I kind of made the joke that, and it's nothing against Sosa, but, what is his role on this team? To be the bat boy? Because he wasn't getting any opportunity to play. Then DeYoung goes down hurt, and he's taking advantage of it. He's playing well. He's hustling. He's, making some flashy plays on defense. So that's been a nice welcome to see. And definitely, like Larry said, I mean, it's something when DeYoung comes back, if he's kind of not hitting or, faltering, you've got Sosa and you've got some confidence built up in the kid now.
Yeah, certain things are clicking for the team and other things are not, but it's good to point out, both sides of it. But me, for one, I would rather see Carp get a little more playing time in some of these games, especially with O'Neill and Bader being out. If you're going to move, Tommy Edman to the outfield for Max Moroff, you can do it for Matt Carpenter. And I think having Carp in the game just kind of changes the outlook. I know his numbers haven't been super great, but he did good the other day, and I thought that would warrant another start since he did well in that game, but it didn't. We didn't see him afterwards. But just for the fact of what he could possibly do, and he came up in a pinch hitting role against the Cubs and drew a walk and didn't try to do too much, and he looked really good. So I, for one, would like to see Carp get a few more opportunities with the injury bug and see if he can make the most of it. And if not, I'm not saying not to play the younger guys. Like we've said, we'd like to see Nagowski play, but we've seen too much of Williams at this point. And Lane Thomas, I don't mind seeing him, put him in center and let Carlson play right. Kind of like Larry said, why shuffle everyone around? I'm okay with Tommy Edman playing left or right field on occasion, but not moving Carlson. I don't think he's, got the speed for it, and he's becoming comfortable and swinging the bat well. So I would want to do, things to not disturb that process. But now the Cardinals are probably on a flight as we speak. They're heading to out here to where I'm at, to Arizona. They got a 4-game series with the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks have not done well this year. I'm going to be watching 3 out of 4 games in person, which I'm pretty excited about, especially after not getting to see them play last year. But Chris, this is kind of a game where the Cardinals have to, come in here to Arizona and Chase Field and kind of re-solidify their spot atop of the National League Central. And, especially with some of the teams that have been better, they've had a tough time, but you really have to capitalize against teams like the Diamondbacks and try to win a good 3 out of 4 to, keep the thing rolling forward, so to speak.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's not a jab at, the Diamondbacks, but you have to go in there and at least win 3 out of 4. When we beat up on teams like the Pirates and some of the softer teams, those are games that we're supposed to win. And then you get tested against the Padres and you get tested against the White Sox, and even the Cubs, give us a run for our money. But you have to go in and take care of business against these teams. And if it's a split series, you can't hang your hat on that. You have to play better than that. And this is a team that the Cardinals should go in and be able to take care of with ease. Not saying the Diamondbacks are the Pirates, by any stretch, but they're not a great team, and the Cardinals need to go in and take care of business.
Yeah, Larry, we talked about this on Conversation with the Nation last time after we had played the Padres, coming back home. You got to kind of, show what you're capable of against the Pirates, and they ended up doing that. But you have to figure going into Arizona here to play the Diamondbacks after your recent series losses to the Cubs and the White Sox, if you don't win at least 3 out of 4, you have to figure, it's kind of a failed series. You don't want to split this thing or lose 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think these are the trips that you have to go out and make a statement. These are what keeps you in the first place position instead of looking up at the Cubs or the Brewers. So we have to win the series at least.
And then after that, my friends, the Cardinals head on to Los Angeles to play number 55, Albert Pujols, and the LA Dodgers. So that ought to be a fun series. It's always kind of interesting to see them play the Dodgers. But, as soon as they go and play the Diamondbacks, Chris, it's going to be another one of those situations to where, okay, now here's another measuring stick test. You're going to go play the Dodgers in LA, who are going to be a, perennial playoff team. So it's going to be another kind of, okay, here's an easy series. Now get ready and see what can happen. It'd be nice to see some of the bullpen and get some things under control and some offense start clicking here in Arizona to go into LA. But it'd be weird to see Pujols in Dodger blue. Do you think?
Well, just in the videos I've seen of him wearing Dodger blue, it doesn't look good. But, like you said, this is another reason the Cardinals have to take care of business against Arizona, because you've already had 2 lackluster series now. You go in, and if you fall flat against Arizona, and then you're looking at 3 straight series losses, and you're going up against a powerhouse like the Dodgers, you might be, I don't know, it could be one of those turning points where the National League Central gets flipped where we're not in first place anymore. If you go on a skid here, because the Dodgers, they're not anybody that the Cardinals should take lightly, and I don't think they will. But they have to gain some sort of momentum, when you go into a team like that. Because if you fall flat and then you come out to play a team like that, it could get ugly and ugly fast.
Yeah, Larry, you have to think going into also to LA to play the Dodgers. They're known for their pitching. So we're going to be relying on our offense. The bats have to be consistent. And then I want to get your thoughts on Pujols and Dodger blue, and if you're excited to see him playing still in California and still in LA, but playing for the Dodgers.
Well, the Dodgers kind of had a rough patch as well, as a lot of teams have. So we go in as long as we're competitive and we do little things we have to do to win or stay competitive in those games. That's the biggest improvement on those West Coast adventures. As far as Albert goes, I want to see him hit the 700. I really do. I can't stand the fact that he's wearing Dodgers blue because I am a true Cardinals fan and I hate the freaking Dodgers with a passion. My grandmother was a Dodgers fan and she hated when they moved to LA. I'm not a Magic Johnson fan, so it's a plethora of reasons why I can't stand the Dodgers. So other than that, yeah, I love Albert, but I don't think it means anything to me to see him play against the Cardinals in LA. When he was an Angel and he came to St. Louis, that was a huge ordeal for me because it did mean a lot. I was an Albert fan. I still am. I like Albert. I don't think he was greedy and left for any other reason other than the fact that they gave him more money. I don't know whose accountant or wife wouldn't say go if they offered you that much more money. So I'm sorry, silly fans. You don't make $30 million a year until you do. Then you can judge how they spend their money. But other than that, like I said, yeah, I like the fact that we're playing these teams early before the All-Star break. And the reason being is that it does show our faults or our crack in the concrete or armor. And so we know what we have to address going into the trading deadline and stuff. So, hey, Mo, if you're watching, I know you tune in every time we put this on that, it's time to make some of those moves that we need to make. So.
Yeah, he's an avid supporter. So Mo, we appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the show and liking and subscribing. If you guys want to be like Mo, you can do the same, like and subscribe, tell your friends. Follow us here on YouTube with our weekly show here, Cardinals Nation 24/7. Hey, Chris, I guess it's time for you to give us a little social media update and an update on the YouTube page, and we'll start to wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, everything keeps growing in size. I think we're getting close to 42,000 group members now. Still around 65,000 page likes on Facebook. As far as the YouTube channel, I mean, we're getting really close to the 900 mark, and that's pretty awesome. So if we can push and get that next 100, that'd be great. Social media has been a big thing for us, and we appreciate everybody that tunes in, checks these videos out. If they can do us a favor by not just subscribing, but to share the stuff out on their timelines on Facebook or on Twitter. If you're listening to the audio versions out there, share that stuff or tell a friend to check us out, and we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we certainly do, and Chris puts in a lot of time and effort on that. Not so much lately, but he puts a lot of effort and focus on that.
Currently in Facebook jail, yeah.
Larry, do you have anything you want to add as we close this out?
How did I know that was coming?
Well, I'm not editing this, but I couldn't help throw something out there.
There you go. No, I mean, like I said, it's good to see baseball in general, and that we're traveling around the country and playing teams that we haven't played for a while. Seeing those games again, that's a huge thing right now, is get life back in order, back to normalcy. So
and the fans. What do you thought about the fans? That was great, the Cup Series, huh?
Yeah, and that's the next thing I was going to say was, the fact that now the fans are coming back to the stadiums. They're going to open up. A lot of the stadiums are now full capacities again. They're going to open in July, probably. They said for almost every stadium now. I don't know about the California stadiums yet, but all in all, like I said, it's baseball day to day, so let's enjoy it. And for last year, we missed it so much, so maybe we slow down on the bitching so much about the day to day. Oh, Shelton didn't do this or Shelton didn't do that, or let's just enjoy what life gives us every day.
No, that's not going to slow down. It's going to continue.
But
it's worth saying it. I mean, Chris, your closing thoughts here for Cardinals Nation and the upcoming West Coast trip with the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers?
Well, like Larry said, I mean, seeing fans in the stands again, that's something that we can all appreciate, and the fact that we are watching a first place Cardinal team. I know it isn't always rainbows and butterflies. It's not always pretty, but we're watching a team that we love do well, and fans in the stands. We're going to always have things that we can critique and criticize about, but take it with a grain of salt. Go out and enjoy watching Cardinal baseball, because at the end of the day, whether we're complaining or we're cheering, we're all bleeding red, and we're all Cardinal fans wanting to see a winner. So that's what it's all about, and I think they've given us a lot of hope this season for some good things to happen.
Yeah, they have, and we're, basically about a third of the way through. So there's still a lot of baseball left to be played, and a lot can happen in this season. And the Cardinals are in no shape in a bad way at all. So let's continue to watch and support our team and stay positive and cheer them on the best we can. And there's sorry for a lack of editing on this episode, but this is Cardinals Nation 24/7 episode, official episode number 16. For my co-host, the living legend Larry Cox, and the bearded dragon and founder of Cardinals Nation 24/7, Chris Lawless. I'm Jared Redwine. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week. And go Cards!
Go Cards!